Welcome to the latest episode of Authenticated, an active listening space inviting you to a playground of creative conversations. I'm your host, Kate McLeod. I am insatiably curious, and I love optimizing my creativity, especially my creative thinking, because it leads me to creative solutions. It's a method of my creativity I practice and share out loud to inspire more independent thinking in a world pushing conformity. So join me with an arsenal of creative thinkers, from multi-hyphenate artists to entrepreneurs or niche experts willing to think out loud with me as I continue to explore and define the creative conscious. Still sounds hot, right? Corey Hayes, welcome to the Authenticated podcast.
So glad to be here, Kate.
Me too. Nice Saturday morning start.
Yes.
It feels very fresh, clean. I don't usually film on Saturdays, but this just feels rejuvenating in a nice way.
In New York, it's the first. Today it finally feels like winter is lifting.
Like the spring is actually here.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that that's where we're starting. And we worked together twice now for listeners who are new to our working relationship. But I also feel like I've started a nice friendship with you too, which I think a lot of your subjects tend to start friendships with you. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah. It goes to different levels. Like some people I hang out with on a regular basis. There's some people that they live abroad, but almost every time they come in town, we end up collaborating. And getting to photograph people over and over throughout the course of their lives is one of my biggest joys, because our relationship has grown from just being able to work together, but also we get to age a little bit together. And what you wanted to explore a year or 2 years ago might be totally. I would hope that it would be totally different.
Yeah.
2-3 years in the future. So I love that experience of just getting to see how people's lives are growing and then record that.
It feels like a beautiful witnessing to someone's life.
Yeah.
I think of siblings as the longest witness to my life, but then for you to talk about the growth of time that progresses between one collaboration and another, that's pretty amazing. But then you also have subjects who maybe sometimes you don't see again.
Yeah, and they're just one-offs.
You photograph a lot of different people. Is the attraction for you for photography to encapsulate being able to see someone, or what is it that draws you to being able to have that connection with people?
How long an answer do you want for that?
As long as feels real.
So I love the diversity. I think part of it's just living in New York is you have such access to diverse groups of people. I think the thing that I want to do with my photography is, and I think I do this to a greater or lesser extent, just depending. I would love for it to be even more diverse than it is. But I love trying to tell stories of people whose stories don't normally get told. And so even though I've photographed actors and musicians and stuff like that, those aren't the people whose stories I'm the most interested in. I'm the most interested in folks who if you never have had a chance to be photographed or to get to reveal something about who you are, those are the people that I'm the most interested in.
What does voicing that space do for you?
What's it do for me? Oh, man. We can all affect the world in whatever ways that we have our sphere of influence. And I feel like this is my sphere of influence, is photography and being able to photograph diverse people. And this is the one way where I can have an influence on the world and people that are in my orbit. I think we all have our spheres of influence. If somebody has a really great podcast and they can touch a lot of people, part of me is always drawn to keeping it small. And I think this gets into trying to lead an authentic life. I think as soon as you start trying to reach more and more people, you're either really lucky and people are just drawn to something about you, or you have to start selling yourself in a certain way. And as much as possible, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to compromise taking photos of people that nobody knows and people that, would otherwise never be seen, and give those people space to be seen and explore something about themselves, and do it in a way that they can be revealed as much as they want to be. I feel like this is the one thing that I can do for other people, to where it takes my skills and who they are, and we can put these things together and try to say something personal about that person. And getting to do that with other people just brings me a lot of joy.
It's seeing the human in other people.
Yeah. And to help them get to see that for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do have a very strong ability to listen, but I think sometimes listening can be stopped at what's available to be heard.
Yeah.
And the next step beyond that is seeking out what you want to hear, or seeking out what maybe are the lower frequencies that aren't as easily picked up on.
Rephrase that.
Like, you know how they say if you're blind or if you're deaf, your other senses will heighten?
Yeah.
It's like knowing that you have a strong ability to listen to people, but not taking the easy way of listening, not the way that's been prescribed to you, for you to say, yeah, I'm a really good listener. I want to hear more. I don't want to hear what everyone else is hearing. So if I'm already a good listener, full stop, what's beyond that? And so then that's seeking out not to sit here and hear the fridge and to hear the bird outside, but to get even quieter, which I think I want to get into because that brings a really great comfortability with self.
Yeah.
Get quieter, and then to say, what are the things that I would not normally hear?
Yes. And maybe you've experienced this in us working together and like having coffee or something. I love to ask the next question. And sometimes I feel like that, like I always want to respect people's boundaries. Like you can tell me as little or as much as you want. But I love always asking the follow-up question. Like if someone seems like they're cracking a door to a topic, I love to then knock on the door and say, hey, is this a topic that you want to talk more about? Because it seems like you're broaching this subject, and I think people will tell you what they want you to know if you listen. And so when people bring up a topic that seems sensitive, I'm like, I don't know, do you have anybody that you can talk to about this? And if not, I at least want to gently knock and go like, do you want to talk about that more? Or are you okay just leaving it there?
What is your definition of company? And by that, I mean to be in company.
This is funny because it totally relates back to something I usually say about photography. I'm good at photographing 1 to 5 people max. And sometimes when you'll go have dinner with a group of friends, and depending on how big the group is, the conversation will start to fracture. One group will start talking about one thing and another group will start talking about something else. I feel like 5 people, that never happens. And I think that keeping a small number of people to where you can all be on the same page with something, like that's company for me. To where everybody is relating to the conversation that is happening in the moment, and that you're all there like together experiencing, the same thoughts and feelings and experiences. Instead of, as soon as it starts to fracture off, then I'm like, this starts to feel a little less like company.
Visually, for me, when you were talking about someone kind of knocking on a door, hey, do you want to go through it?
Yeah.
Do you have anyone who can go through it with you? It makes me think of like this companionship visually, where it's like you go and you're a listening presence only to amplify the experience of the other person, but to create safety, to create comfort, to go with them, to be like, if it's scary to go, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Which probably means that you have a really cool relationship to fear.
I think so. We can talk about that, and then I'll figure out if I do.
I'll figure out if I do. There's a book called Run at the Danger. I love when something scares me a little bit,
Yeah.
of course, like not jeopardizing my safety, but I'm like, ooh, why? Why?
Yes. Do you know what that comes from? Like, why is it that you are comfortable entering into situations where you maybe don't feel fully equipped for it?
I think it comes from starting out as an actor in my career and getting rejected constantly and realizing that a lot of the rejection that was happening had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I think, too, not being understood in my life a lot for a very long time, even to myself.
Yeah.
I would just rather know than not know.
Yeah.
And I'd rather strengthen my ego than strengthen my perfect perception. You know, I rather would just adapt and change as quickly as possible.
I'm curious why, because it seems like they're in the generation coming up next, it feels like there's so much fear in them for failure. And I think because it can happen on such a grand scale online. But I think that's one of the reasons why I like to open that door for people to try something that might feel scary, but also create a space where it's like, okay, just because we're shooting photos together doesn't mean the entire world has to see this.
Yeah.
Like, not everything is for everybody. So giving people, it's interesting how to create space to where someone can risk failure and it still be okay. That the whole world doesn't have to experience their, if something goes wrong or if they don't like the outcome of it.
What equips you to offer that safety to other people?
I feel like I'm a very non-judgmental person. I've had so many good stories with other photographers who have had these moments that kind of pushed against their boundaries of like, okay, now I'm not comfortable in this situation, but I know that capturing somebody's inner life takes putting yourself in a space that you might not be comfortable with, but you want to make sure that they are comfortable revealing whatever they want to reveal about themselves. So can I tell you a story that's
Please.
a little weird? Okay. So a photo assistant, a friend of mine, he was doing a series of photos of people that collect vacuum cleaners and like vintage vacuum cleaners, all kinds of vacuum cleaners. I know
Cool.
there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
He drove all the way out to Pennsylvania from New York for a guy that had like this great set of vacuum cleaners. When he arrived at the door, the guy was wearing leather underwear and a leather mask, and that's how he wanted to be photographed with his vacuum cleaners. And so when he got there, the guy was like, so I need you to help me because I've zipped myself up in my underwear. Can you help unzip this so that I can? And I was like, oh my God, what'd you do? And he's like, I got the shot. He was like, it was either like drive all the way back from Pennsylvania or capture this really odd, unique situation. And I was like, way to go.
And also because that person's willing to be seen.
Yes.
I think that is a great story. That illuminates a bit more about a relationship with fear. Is also it comes in tandem with a relationship with capability.
Yeah.
I was hosting a networking event last week. This woman comes up to me. I always have to hold a minute when I meet someone who I can tell is capable, but they don't believe they're capable.
Yeah.
Because it talks to a past version of yourself. And she said to me, how do I believe that this can happen? And I said, believe that you deserve it. Believe that it just will happen. And she was like, but that's hard. I said, listen, you're sitting here and you're telling me that you want to be a screenwriter. How many other people are screenwriters? You're not sitting here telling me that you want to live this life with 9 heads on your body.
Yeah.
One is not possible. The other is possible. Why would the other not be possible? I think capability in your relationship and your belief in being capable, where it's like, this might be a weird situation. I might get there. And just trusting that I will figure out how to be equipped to handle it.
Yeah.
I can listen and become malleable as I go.
Yeah.
I've changed before. I can change again.
Yeah.
that comes from probably a practicing of not feeling seen, not feeling understood. So it's okay, well, then I'll adapt to be safe in this place. I'm thinking of that girl now from the Avengers with the skin. Was it the Avengers?
Could have been.
She changes.
Oh, X-Men.
X-Men.
Yes.
Good for me.
It's okay, nerd brain.
Nerd brain. I'm like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But just like being able to chameleon a little bit.
Yeah.
You can do that very well.
I hope so.
I think I interrupted a thought. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just thinking about, I don't know if I would call it chameleon, because I hope that I would be the same. Yeah, I don't think anybody's the same in every situation.
Fair.
I hope that I get pretty close. I'm trying to think of circumstances where I feel like I'm a little different in this circumstance than I am otherwise. This might be a question better for my wife, or somebody that gets to see me from outside of myself.
One of your witnesses.
Yeah, but that's a good thing for me to think about for myself, is like, where do I show up differently? Well, I hope not many places. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's a good feeling, to hope not too differently from other places. I know there is something so valuable in knowing that exactly who you are is great for all the situations.
Yeah.
You showing up as yourself.
Okay. I just thought of a situation
Okay.
that in most cases I am very comfortable. I was out having lunch with friends yesterday. I just said, look, I'm not going to eat a ton. It was a family style thing. I was like, I'm just going to eat whatever you guys order. I'm pretty omnivorous. But then everyone was having trouble figuring out, like, what's it going to be? And in that situation, I was like, oh, now it's time for me to show up differently and just be like, you're gluten-free. We're going to get this. The main thing you want is this. Here's our order. Done. And so, yeah, there's moments where I feel like I'm so happy being the backseat passenger in most situations, until there's a situation where it's like, somebody's got to stand up and make some final decisions here. And then I am more than happy to show up and be like that person in that situation. But most of the time, I feel like I'm pretty consistently just, hey, I'm in the back seat. I will go where you want to go.
Unless someone needs a driver.
Exactly.
Which is great. I'm curious for you, in regards to our most recent shoot.
Yeah.
I wanted to explore things larger than their container.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to say is I'm 5'4" with a 6'2" personality, you know?
I can attest to that.
Thank you. I also wanted to explore with you in that photo shoot the scale of masculinity and femininity, specifically my preference to wear men's clothing, but then also knowing that I come off as hyper feminine. Yeah. I'm wondering about when you get in situations where you're the observer, but you're also an equal contributor in the space. Yeah. What do you learn from witnessing explorations like that?
I think I consistently learn that society doesn't want all of us. And I think that that's something that I try to create in a space, is where you can be like, hey, you can bring the uncomfortable parts that you don't normally get to bring. I heard something really great a couple of days ago where someone said that men are raised to keep your emotions down, but bring your voice and this kind of like general force into the world. But the emotional part the world doesn't want from men.
Okay, I understand.
And from women, they want the exact opposite thing. Bring the emotions and the softness, but don't bring your forcefulness and your anger and rage, and don't bring those hard parts. And so we're all being raised with just half of ourselves. And so I loved that when we were shooting together, that you were like, I want to bring part of that masculine side to this shoot. And I'm like, there's nothing I would want more than for you to get to see both sides of yourself, both presented at the same time, to where it's an integrated you instead of only the side that society wants from you.
Society doesn't want all of us.
No.
I think a lot about filters and boundaries as filters. Visuals are very helpful in my head, but filters is to say, you can come here, but there are certain things I'm just not going to deal with. And now I'm thinking about like a collective filter of society,
Yeah.
of what we find palatable. That derives from a focus on differences as opposed to similarities.
Tell me more about that.
When people are focused on differences, that's fear-based to me.
Yeah.
This is different. And it comes from being a species that used to have to survive the elements without walls around us.
Right.
The progression of the human is to become more self-aware and now to focus on what makes us similar as to what makes us different. Because if you focus on what makes us different, it's to disqualify and to isolate. If you focus on what makes us similar, then it means to bring more together. It means you have to grow. It means you have to be more considerate. It means that you have to expand. And for some reason, that hard work to humans just like feels hard or like too much. And even I think this. Sometimes I'm like, I have to be a good person. I got to be smart. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from having to do all this.
Yeah.
But the truth is I don't have to do any of it.
Yeah.
I want to do the harder thing. I want to have hard work because I don't enjoy easy autopilot work at all.
Yeah. I agree. I've always said though, that I have a very wide space for ambiguity, that I'm okay not knowing how something's going to work out. And I'm okay like not knowing what tomorrow will bring. I don't think that's everybody. I think most people find comfort in minimizing ambiguity, which causes anxiety for a lot of people, like as much as possible. So to know what to expect and to know what to expect from people and each other, like when you show up at somebody's door, you don't expect them to be there in leather underwear and a leather
With all
mask.
the Hoovers around.
Yeah, but to go to the door and go like, this is just another human being. He was a male photographer, so he's like, I don't think I'm going to be in any real danger here. My wife watches a lot of Dateline, and the more Dateline she watches, the more she's like, it's a dangerous world out there. And it is. I'm lucky to be like a white male, and I can move through the world in a way without thinking how dangerous the world is most of the time. But I would hope that making space for people's differences and making space a little bit for those unknown parts of people, I don't know. Like, I find it so interesting, and I find it to be so okay. And
It's exciting.
and it can be. I've never had a situation where something went really wrong because of that. And again, my wife and I always say we balance each other out so well, because I'm like, we're going to go into this, and all I got is plan A. And if that doesn't go wrong, I'll figure it out. And she's like, we should probably have a plan B and probably a plan C. And it's so helpful to have somebody else to kind of like balance that, like, everything's going to work out fine side of me.
Yeah.
I think this is when I'm at my best, is knowing that the person in front of me is just as broken a human being as I am, and being okay with that. Like, if we're starting to talk about authenticity, that's one of the guiding principles of my life, that I'm okay with people being different.
The saying that everyone will say about relationships, about like opposites attract.
No.
The thing beyond that for me is that I hope so.
Yeah.
It only works when the intention is about the space in the middle, when it's accepting your own humanity and the other's humanity.
Yeah.
You're never really meant to know anything. You're always meant to be wrestling with things.
Yes. Yeah.
And so for you to say, oh yeah, but that and this and what else, that flexibility, I think, makes more space for your own humanity, for a better knowing of yourself, a better meeting of another person.
Yeah.
It feels like today authenticity is, in this conversation, it's the acceptance of humanness.
For me, yes. And I think I've realized since the pandemic that one of the deal breakers for me with other people is when they do not respect that same shared sense of humanity that other people have. If you're reading the news and you don't see the human cost behind things, that immigration is just kicking people out, but you don't understand that those are people. They were somebody's baby that, you know, they had, and that they had hopes and dreams for, and that when that kid was growing up, they had hopes and dreams for a better life. Like, if you don't see that kind of shared sense of humanity, and that's where I have a hard time still being in relationship with people. Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
Because there's a cutoff there.
Yeah.
They're saying this channel is completely closed. There's no option here.
Yeah.
As I'm exploring in Judaism right now, it's that to define anything is to limit it, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
To think like, nope, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And how can you say that about another person? When you said that, I think about King Lear will take me through the emotional ringer every single time I see it. And it's the same way that when I'm on the subway and there's an older person going through the subway cars, every single time I think, is that someone's mom? Is that someone's dad?
Yeah. No, for sure it is. I can speak from experience. Like, aside from doing just photography on my own, I'm also the creative director at a nonprofit that helps people with homelessness. And I get to photograph homeless people all week long. And I've heard over the past 10 years that I've done this, I've gotten to hear so many like just amazing but heartbreaking stories of people who they were living their life and then something happened, and when they fell, there was no safety net to catch them. And so they just fell all the way through until they became homeless. But yes, like when you see somebody walking through the subway, like I always imagine that as like a kid in preschool who's packing their lunch, or their mom's packing their lunch for them.
Yeah.
And they're going off to school to learn and be creative, and or that they're a kid who never had anyone care for them. They had to pack their own lunch, and that they never had anyone tell them, oh, you can do this. Oh, I've got you. I've met so many adults that grew up and they were always a problem. They never had somebody that believed in who they could be. Yeah.
And so you're the person who believes in the what else and what next.
I think that anybody that does nonprofit work has to believe that there's always a chance for somebody. There's a couple that came to one of our outreaches one time, and they were hooked on drugs, had not showered in days, possibly weeks. And over the year that we were able to help them, it was literally the people that you would see on the subway and go like, yeah, there's no chance for them. No way. They were sleeping either on rooftops or in stairwells, having that sense that like miracles can happen. Sometimes the people that you think, oh my God, there's no hope for them, having hope for them when they can't have it for themselves, sometimes is all it takes for that thing to turn.
How do you share your hope for someone else who feels like they don't have the capacity to hold it for themselves?
Oh, great question. Accept them the way they are, not where you want them to be. And I think so often when people are, dealing with homelessness, they're like, oh, get off drugs first, and then I'll help you. Go take a shower first so that you don't smell horrible, and then we'll help you. And it's like, no, like we'll serve people and meet with people who are just actively on drugs in a crap mood. Some of the people that I work with are just like so incredible. There's one woman I work with, Zeandra, and we had a guy like show up, and like I was scared of this guy because he was in such a bad mood. It was one of those things where you just felt like one spark could set off this powder keg. But Zeandra just like introduced herself, got to know his name, got to hear what he was frustrated about that day, and just slowly talked him down to sitting down, meeting with him, and giving him like some practical action steps and referrals to get the stuff that he needed. You just never know.
Well, it's eliminating the qualifiers. I will only when you. Yeah. I'm doing this because I believe, as opposed to I'm doing this because you've done the agreement.
There's that, and there's that saying, there but for the grace of God go I. Like, that could be me, had my life turned in a different way. And I think so many people do not believe in that. And trust me, we're all a lot closer to becoming homeless than we are hitting the lottery and being Jeff Bezos or somebody.
Yeah. I had that conversation with my brother a lot about that being true.
Yeah.
That could have been what, one, a miracle every life is, where you're born,
Yeah.
who you're born to, the time
Yeah.
you're born in, all these like things that you don't have any say in.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that my whole life I've had my parents as my biggest advocates who are like, anything you need, does not matter what,
Yeah.
call us. And I've always believed that 100%.
Yeah.
And to think that, it just breaks my heart if that's something that would be a void in someone's life.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to ask this question today, but I really want to now.
Yeah.
What are the actionable ways in New York for New Yorkers to help this population?
I would say come volunteer with City Relief. Like, even if you are just there for a day, you will get like some really practical tips on how to reach out to somebody that's homeless. Like, if you see somebody sleeping on the street, don't wake them up. This could be the only sleep that they will have had for the past 24 hours. Like almost everybody that is homeless, especially street homeless. Well, I would say even if you're in the shelter, like you're sleep deprived. And then one of the typical things I say about homeless is like, how difficult is it to be homeless? I'll say, imagine having to stay up all week and then someone said, now do your taxes. That's what it's like, is you're walking around constantly exhausted and being asked to do difficult things. Like, go get an ID. All right, you've been to the DMV. Try doing that without sleeping well for a week. Or you had to go across town to get a meal one place, now you have to go somewhere else. Or you're carrying everything that you own with you. So even to go into somewhere to get an ID means you're going to have to leave all of your belongings probably outside and risk them getting stolen.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly difficult, but come volunteer with us. I usually say us because we're just a very hands-on organization. Most places you volunteer, you're not going to get to meet the people that you are actually helping. With us, you do. There's no barrier between handing somebody a cup of soup and actually getting the opportunity to possibly go and sit with them and have a shared meal together. A lot of the stereotypes that you walk in with, or you will find those quickly disappear at the end of the 2-hour outreach. Mm-hmm. And I think we exist as a place for not only just to help people that are homeless, but that anybody that is interested in helping the homeless community, it gives you practical knowledge on, and also like a little buffer area. It's like, you don't want to go out on the street and just help people on your own. Hey, come and help us through us. We will watch your back. Like, we will make sure that the situation stays safe for you. But, oh my God, there's so many, like, I don't care what breaks your heart, there's an organization for it. So if it's not homelessness, just go volunteer with anybody. My gosh, take 2 hours in the course of your month to just give back to somebody else.
Offer your time.
Yeah.
Your most valuable commodity.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So when it comes to authenticity, are there certain ideals that you feel are just part of who you are that make up you living an authentic life?
I'm not sure if they're ideals. I know that I'm just curious. I'm so naturally curious.
Yeah.
And I, similarly to something that you shared earlier, like, I know that I have a lot of value that I can offer other people. I know that my perspective on the world is not only valuable to me, but it's very valuable to other people. And I can see when I make sense to someone, I can see that potential unlock, and I can see that opportunity unlock, and I can see them starting to think more creatively.
Yeah.
And my thinking creatively is definitely what I lead with authenticity.
Yeah.
Because if I'm curious and I believe I'm capable, when you say, oh, well, I don't know how to do this, my mind immediately starts going, let me figure out how to do that. I would love to help you figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
I believe that everyone should be able to follow their desires and their wants and not be so constricted. So I think it's my curiosity, belief in capability, my creative thinking. And I just love generosity, whether that's through honesty or through respect or through giving someone a gift or just spending time with someone. Like, I really do have a deep passion for people.
Yeah.
That first comes from having a deep passion for myself and deep self-interest, where I'm really curious why I think that, or if that bothers me, I really want to know why, or if there's another stone that I can unturn. Oh man, I want to see. It makes me think of like when I'm with my nephew and he wants to know the names of the bug friends. And I'm like, let's go find a rock and let's turn it up and I'll lay on the ground with you and we'll look at it and I'll explain to you what they're doing. I guess it's similar to the disqualifiers. I'd rather qualify than disqualify. That also is a double-edged sword sometimes, but I really just want to know.
Can you give me an example of something that you do that you feel fits this kind of like internal motto that you have? So an example for me is working with a nonprofit. Like, I really believe that every person is of equal worth.
Yeah.
There is nobody who is worth more than anybody else. So getting to work with an organization that treats people like that, one of the joys of my life.
I would say, like a daily example, I will tell people exactly what I'm thinking. I want to be real in that moment. And maybe it comes out of left field, but good. I hope I surprise you. I hope you didn't expect that to come out of me today. But then in the larger sense, my mission is conversations like this, where I don't think a lot of people have conversations like this with other people. So giving someone space to feel like the third participant in it. And then also all of my work for creative consulting, everything I'm doing as a creative producer, just as a creative in general, I'm working so hard to figure out a method to really teach people how to have their own creative conscious. Yeah. This is a pattern of thinking that is specific to you. You get to opt into this to become more you. Yeah. And stop thinking in all these patterns of thinking that you subscribed to a million years ago. Yeah. And you just really need to unsubscribe from them because they're not even you. Yeah. Lean into the things to open the doors to find more space and find creative solutions to things. Yeah. Because without creativity, if we live in a world like devoid of creativity, it's going to be the most unhuman thing possible. We connect through creativity. Yeah. So that's mine.
Love it.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about photography and the photos that we did at all?
I do.
Okay, good.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I'm a hunch person, or I was leaning into that side of myself when we were creating.
Right.
And I just wanted to break out of this mold. I wanted it to feel like almost like leaving a womb in a way, but not fighting. Yeah. Like leaving an encasement, but it doesn't have to be violent. Get me out of here. It's, I know I'm going to get out. And we had these gorgeous movements with that stretchy fabric of just like pushing through, wrapping, like playing with the slack that it had, playing with the tension in it. Yeah. What came up for you when you were watching it?
When I'm in photographer mode, I feel like all of the emotional stuff comes in the conversation that happens beforehand. That when we talked about what you wanted to shoot and what you wanted that to say, and for me to come to an understanding of what is this going to mean for you, like that all happens before we even get started. Mm-hmm. Once it's actually happening in the moment, I'll usually tell people like, okay, think we're moving in the same direction. Yeah. During our shoot, I will nudge you to see if we're both going the same way and for you to feel like, yes, I am making this be exactly what I want it to be, even if it feels like weird or personal. Yeah. I like to say, I will nudge you. I won't push you. Like, I want to make sure that you're leading where this is going. Yes. But I want to make sure that if you start to feel nervous about it, that I back you up and I'm like, okay, if you still want this to move towards the goal that you were talking about, I just want to make sure that I'm making that path wider for you so that you can get there. But ultimately, it's always up to whoever I'm shooting to go there if that's where they want to go.
Yeah.
The rest of it is like me anticipating what's about to happen and continually going like, what's the light doing? Where's the shadow? Especially when you have kind of transparent fabric like that.
Yeah.
I mean, photography is just two-dimensional, but anytime you can put layers in there, it starts to give it more dimension. So yeah, a lot of it, that technical brain starts to take over and go, does this look like I want it? And does it feel like what we discussed previously? The self-reflection stuff all comes afterwards. In the moment, it's more, are we getting the stuff that we want to get, and does it feel interesting?
You are very good at providing an active feedback loop while
Yes.
we're shooting, where you're
Yeah.
like, look at this photo. Is this translating the way you thought?
Yeah.
Or I loved too, where I had brought in like cutouts and I had a very specific idea for it. And you're like, hey, this is great. It's not translating. The color of this paper is not the right color to translate the way you want to, technically. And I'm like, great, then let's forget it. Let's go
move
back
on.
somewhere else.
Yep.
You were like, oh, I like the way this fabric moves. Try moving it in this direction. It was very playful in the sense of we both understand the mission here, but I lean into you for the technicals for that part because I can't wear that hat at that moment in
Yeah,
time.
exactly. And that's totally where my brain is at, is in the technical details, but also, are we heading in the creative direction that you that we discussed beforehand?
And then what about editing? What layer comes out in editing in post?
I have so many thoughts about editing and being a good editor just in everything. In a lot of photo shoots, I give people like a big space to play in, but they're always like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, what I want to do is give you this space. Trust me, I will come through this. You will see my fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
So it happens in both my sense of just being a minimalist. I want subject to be the subject. And when it comes to editing, this is where my preference, just as Corey, comes through. A lot of times I look for the moments where it's like, it's not perfect. In some of the photos that you'll show during this podcast, there will be certain images where there is just a flow to the fabric that I was just in love with. That I was like, oh my gosh, this just feels so velvety, and it's just got such a great direction and movement. But there will be other ones where things feel awkward and weird. And
Like, where is that arm coming from?
Exactly. Or where did it go?
Yeah.
Or did Kate lose a leg or something? That stuff that starts feeling odd and confusing, that's the editing process for me. It's where all of the things that I'm interested in seeing a person, to where you might see them and it looks confusing, or you see something in that person that's, oh, they might not love this photo, but their family is going to adore it because they see something about this person that doesn't usually get seen by the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that I look for in the editing process. But the editing process is really a reflection of me and my interests in what I want to see from somebody. Like, a lot of times people will just ask me, can I just see everything? And I'm like, you can, but I'll show up in the editing process. I think that's like an important thing for everybody. That's where the idea of just taste comes through. My taste is seeing the awkward and the weird and the broken and the parts of yourself that you might not love, but it's still beautiful.
So editing gives you a lot of joy.
So much. And when I have an entire shoot ahead of me, I go through it so quickly. And when the back of my brain recognizes an image that like stands out, it's like, okay, that one's in. And then tap until I'm like, oh, wait a second. That one. So I go through everything really quickly at first and just let the back of my brain pick out the ones that I'm like, okay, there was something there for me.
It's allowing that impulse in. Editing, I think the first assumption is like curated, and it's like, no, I think there's also a lot of intuition in editing.
So much.
Thank you so much for continuing to collaborate with me.
Oh man, anytime.
Yeah.
Like, you're so much fun to work with.
Thank you. You as well. And thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your thinking space and sharing your thoughts and your humanity and your authenticity. I have a very good feeling about this hitting the right people who need to hear it.
Oh, I hope so. That's the goal.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You got it, Kate. Thanks.
And those are the latest thoughts. Thank you for sharing your thinking space with me today. I hope you're continuing on with new questions, answers for now. thoughts and curiosities of your own. Please like, subscribe to, and share anything and everything that resonated. Send me questions and intrigues that my creative work or this episode brought up for you. For all things that I'm working on, creating, and exploring, head to the show notes. Until next time, babe.